Yepa, homeboy. That's your nigga Low G. Putting it down for the Nina Nueve. We're giving props, but we did this quick, so don't trip if you forgot your click.
I move 100 pounds in my hustle town. Come around, fuck 'em down with my underground. Puffin' Bow Wow Blows in my TP. With my hyena hollering, release me. Prime time light shines on the high minds. Hellified rhymes, You rewind 25 times. Another fool putting down the truth. You can't fuck with the Riddler on the roof, mister. Go get her, kick them all better. If she wanna go, fuck the whole letter. The wanderer, he'll put hustler. Turn your back on your gal in a straight clown in my H-town. Get you hoes really ready for the takedown. Break down, shake ground. Some niggas don't play round, pop. Make your whole clique catch a greyhound. Boys, that's the beat. DJ Screw, Kid Frost, my beat. S.A. Fools, Ice T, Fat, Public Enemy. Me, put the streets on me. Machiavelli, Rockin', Hillwood hustlers. Most hated, too short. Bone thugs, Dog Pound, Nas, the Fugees. We put the streets on beat. Stick and move, hitting licks, we from left to right. Act a fool when I want to check the mic. Don't trip with the beat in the smoke right now. I jump in this shit when it's back.
So when I initially videotaped this portion of the video, it was a silent walk around, and I was just primarily trying to flaunt the awesomeness of what was the parts that I had. After I watched the video a couple of times, I noticed that a silent walk around was kind of boring. So I had decided to sub in this audio of me explaining why the silent walk around wasn't the best choice. So I'm gonna proceed to explain to you why a little bit of audio is better than no audio. And that's primarily because if I didn't explain what was going on, you would just see me holding up this random carburetor. Nothing special. But that's a Holley 750 CFM 4150 carburetor, man. That's some good stuff. Look at them valve springs. My gosh, they're springy. I got the NASCAR, gosh darn, Cometic gaskets. From what I know, they're freaking NASCAR. Woohoo! And yeah, look at all those metal things. So all of that's gonna go inside of the engine and possibly spin really fast without exploding everywhere. And you gotta have the Chevy dust cap dang and the doohickeys over there. Man, it is all a get up and go, man. Let's do this. Woohoo! America. Yeah, I need to clean up my little desk and put these heads together. If I know how to do it, I'll sketch in a little video of the progress of grinding these down. They kind of work the intake valves a little bit to make them flow better. And then up here on the top, you can't see it anymore, but there was red paint that I chipped away to kind of make it curvy and, all that other shit. So I'm gonna lap my valves and put it all together. There's a few of them right there. I haven't even touched them. But clean it up and freaking... yeah, we'll go from there. Woo! So I've done this just enough times to feel comfortable enough to want to make a video about it. But in a nutshell here, before I even start heating up, you got to use multi-purpose spacers to get your connecting rod perfectly level so that it's 90'd with the wrist pin. The wrist pin is interference fit, so you're going to want to get it nice and toasty. It takes just a few minutes whenever you're using a cutting tip. Oh, seconds, really. Here, I'm going to focus on this torch instead of the phone, so if I drift away, excuse me, but I'm using my dominant hand to record and my retarded hand to fucking heat
which is very smart to do. So I put some tension on there, so hopefully when it gives way, you'll hear it snap, crackle, and pop. And if not, here, I'll just, yeah, you see, still fucking has tension there. But it did do something, so, oh, there it goes. That was it. So just a few more seconds. Nothing too crazy. Boom. Then you shut that off. Oh shit, oh shit. Shut that off. Yeah, had to put the phone down, y'all. But once it gives way, you should be free to send her on home. Keeping in mind that it has to stay level, nice and warm. She'll fall out in just a second. I'll stop it with my foot just because I want to save it for some reason. Bam, and just like that. You know you didn't fuck up when you can touch this and it's not hot. It'll be hot right there, but if you can touch this with your hand, your rod is perfectly fine. And check it out. First time ever trying to port and polish some heads. So I started with the OEM gasket and outlined the excess metal that isn't necessary. Then slowly started chipping it away, making a nice even transition. But if you look up in there, those ports are kind of junk. And look, these are the ones that I haven't touched. This is an original machine mark for the valve seat. And then there's the port. There's a nice slip all the way around on all of the intake ones. So I came in and kind of filed them down ever so slightly, making sure that that curve from the intake is a smooth transition. And so that was pretty good. So then I come over here to this one. This one's almost completely done, and you can see the progress on that. These are, again, just intake valves. I did work the exhaust a little bit, but you're supposed to be real careful with the exhaust, so I just kind of cleaned it. With those intake valves, that's just a tiny little seam that's like damn near flush. I just don't want to cut too deep into it. But dude, they are coming out, man. Here, look. Come over here, and here, you know what? Fuck all that. Here, you need to see what it looks like with the gasket on there, because that's what it was originally. They were all like that. Then, like I said, started cutting it down. You gotta come over here, put that there. Hoo-ha. Very important when you port match, you gotta make sure your bolt holes are exact. That's the most important thing with this job. Because your gasket mates, you know, between your head and cylinder. But look at that. Boom. Fucking beautiful. Still has a little tiny bit of work to do on there. Really almost nothing. This one is pretty much as good as it could be. Make sure your fucking bolt holes are centered as good as possible. Look at that. So like I had mentioned before, I'm really going to try to go forth and finish this one video regardless of how bad it is. I'm really not too focused on the aspects of making a video because they'll get in the way of performing and making a good product. So forgive me for not making quality content. I'm trying to produce quality work, which is when it boils down to a little bit more important. But boom, check it out. I'm freaking gonna paint and prep all of that. headers are gonna get painted. That's all for that big block. Like there's the manifold tray right there. That was the original connecting rods I was gonna use, but I actually janked one up and went a whole nother route with H-beam rods. This is my work right here. This is a N14 Cummins right there. Going in for a rebuild on that one. It's been a headache. If anybody knows how to set injectors on a early model N14, not the big cam, just the regulars, let me know, because I need help on that. And then you got a frac pump. I don't know if y'all have ever seen one of them before, but I'm actually not even supposed to be showing this on the intro net because it's pituitary and I could get in trouble. So I'll just come back over here and show y'all that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it all nice and painted. I actually went in and tried to clean up some of these edges with the burr bit, so it was kind of cleaner, you know. Still has a lot of work to do, but I wasn't trying to focus too much on that, but it was shit. Boom. I got the valve covers. I need to prep the headers. I think those will be gray. And then I'm also painting. Ooh, you can't even see it. I need a better phone. I'm painting that one gray too. Yes, sir. The paint job came out pretty good. The black and red contrasts nicely with just a little bit of silver on the, or gray on the alternator. The bracketries. I started painting the block. It's in another shop over that way. But for today, I'm going to focus on porting my intake manifold. So it's pretty simple. You just grab a fucking gasket, center up your bolt holes. I'm just going to rudimentally put it on there for now. Then you outline the excess metal that you don't want interfering between gaskets. And then you remove the gaskets and you cut the red out. I did the same with my cylinder heads. I'll see if I could clip in that clip right now, right here. And then you'll see the process for the heads. But I'm going to repeat it for the manifold. I'm going to not paint the manifold. The manifold will, in fact, just stay the original color. Then I'm also prepping my headers. And they will be painted silver to match the alternator and the natural look of the manifold there. Other than that, she's going. I freaking completed my heads and y'all. So this is how I painted the block. I had actually assembled it, so it's completely assembled. Look, there's lifters and the camshaft and everything in there. And my heads are completely built with fresh valve springs. Look, check it out. Look, 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 look. Bam! Beehive springs, mother truckers. So it's a Beehive springs with a maximum lift of a 600. I got an Isky camshaft with a lift of 600, so I'm right at the maximum level of my valves. I actually desperately need to check bindage between them before I continue. But for painting, since the engine was already assembled, I didn't really want to tape off a whole bunch of stuff, so I just put bags over the components, timing cover, heads, and oil pan, painted the block. And I'm going to just repeat the process where I remove those pieces off, put a bag over the block, and then I could safely paint my heads and my timing cover. My oil pan's already been painted, so I don't need to worry too much about that. But don't tell nobody. Oh, what a fucking rookie, gosh darn it. Anyway, so the heads will be painted. And then really after that, all I got to do is put on the rest of my valve train, which really isn't much. Just torque down freaking rocker arms, throw in some push rods, and fucking oil pump. I didn't want to put the oil pump on just yet because when I remove the oil pan to paint the block, I wouldn't be able to slide a bag over it. So I just left that out for now. But she's are coming. Freaking FYI, this is an old torque converter straight from the good old jigs. That's going into a 4L80E. I was about to say 700 R4. Can you believe me? Anyway, fucking 4L60E, 2500 stall torque converter, because the camshaft I'm running has like a duration of like fucking 200 and something odd degrees, and a overlap of like 112 or 113, so mildly aggressive, and a stock converter would have been choking it up. While I'm here though, freaking 3-inch piping with a 3-inch muffler, and I didn't design it, but I fabricated these in such a way where I actually slid the collar that mounts to the headers through the pipe up to this little point, and I took the collector. I wish you could see in there. Wait, you can if I flip it towards the light. I took the original collector and cut it, and then I welded that lip onto the 3-inch pipe. And my theory behind that is simple. Yeah. You perch this sucker up somewhere, look through there, bam! You see that daylight right there? That's as straight pipe as you can get with the muffler. So I'm aiming for optimum flow. Oh, you can't see it that way. Oh, you can, look at that. I'm aiming for optimum flow, but with a decent sound. I'm actually gonna upgrade this design right here. I got V-bands, so I'm gonna integrate V-bands so for a quicker release. I'm also gonna implement a catalytic converter. So there'll be a muffler and a converter, but there's a great reason for that, and I'll show you. To start off with, this bad boy was a little loud. It rattled the entire Suburban and freaking made a whole bunch of noise. But ja boy went again to Jags, #1 place for shopping. I'm sorry, Summit Racing, y'all done fucked me one too many times. But fucking white pipes, electric cutouts, fucking sandpaper, you know what it is, bro. So I actually wanted to put converters on that muffler, on the exhaust system, to reduce the noise. And then when I flick the switch to open these up, you're just gonna get a deafening, scare your baby, get your girl wet, make your wee wee hard noise, and that's kind of what I'm after. So, porque? Anyway, so fucking, that's kind of what I have going on here. Hopefully, I can weld. I'm not a welder by all means, but I do have in my possession a Lincoln Electric fucking MIG thingy. So hopefully I should be able to do something with that. That's a brand new unit. Like, it's new but old. It's fucking funny. Check this out. Literally has less than 30 minutes of use time. But look, it's so old that the wire's starting to like kind of corrode in there a little bit. So I'm gonna need another spool. Yeah, I bought it new used essentially. So yeah, freaking, I don't have my V-bands here with me right now, but that's the objective, is headers, Y pipes, then cats and muffler. Should be fun. So I'm learning as I go with this process as far as this engine specifically. This is a 6th gen big block. It's the last generation big block before they discontinued them for a little bit. Back in like 2000, they still ran them in the like 8.1 liters in like mobile homes, and I think even the Avalanches had one, but that's not important. So this is a Chloe's performance timing set, and I'm assuming you see that lip right there that protrudes out a little bit. The original timing set didn't have that. And where did I leave that t-shirt? Where did I leave that? Right here. So this is a reluctor wheel for my crankshaft position sensor, and it originally went like that. It even says front. But when you slide this bad boy in here, Here, hold on. Well, yeah, when you slide that bad boy in there, tap it in all the way, and throw your cover on, there's an interference issue between those reluctor wheels and your cover right there. Now, obviously, with the stock timing set, that didn't happen, and there was either two options to go around that. One is flip this around so that I wouldn't interfere with my timing cover, but then I'd be interfering with my chain, or I could come in and shave down where it was interfering right there. But this cover's a little thin, and I actually don't want to jank with that. So this is what your boy did. Bam! Bye! This is just a big washer that we had laying around. So I fucking filed that bad boy down. Boom, you see, so now I could tap that in there. And there's actually a little shim in there. I'll tell y'all what that shim is if you fucking ask for the information. But if not, you're never gonna know. But anyway, so now you could put that there and look. Wow, no interference with the chain. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. So I'm gonna slap the cover on. So the harmonic balancer, once the timing cover is on and once you put your balancer in, your balancer will press up against this. So it'll be pressed up against that washer and that shim I put in there. And theoretically, hypothetically, metaphorically speaking, that shouldn't come out because that'll be backing it up. And the only way that it could come out is if I didn't put my balancer in all the way and there's a little bit of flip-flop in there, that would not be good. But, balos, I just freaking, I think I just faded that, you know what I'm saying, boy? Ooh, that clear, look, oh. Damn. Well, the cover's on and it is tight for the most part. Some of these bolts are loose. And the engine does, in fact, rotate freely now. The only problem is that fucking reversing of that spacer left me no room for the balancer to come in and actually seal up. So I don't really think it'll fucking work. I don't know what to do now. Sons of a... Yeah, look at that. Yep, so after plenty of fuckery, this is actually the best thing I can do to solve that clearance issue between the reluctor wheel and the gosh darn plate itself. I just kind of filed down those grooves or those ribs flush with the housing, and it pretty much solved that. The only thing is that when you put this on, the wheels aren't 100% centered with the sensor. So I'm just hoping and praying that that really doesn't matter. But with that fuckery out of the way, I can proceed with the bolting of the cover and the oil pan, flip this dude all around, and continue with my valve train. Just got to clean all of that up. Then I'm actually going to port this. I don't think I ever really ported that. Now you see, still has a bunch of red. So I might port my intake and just keep on going. That's what we'll do. Woo! Oh, by the way, check out this big ass Cummins. Look, this one right here is a regular old 5.9 or 6 whatever out of a 24 valve. This is not a 5.9. This is not a mechanical injection.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
But this one right here is an industrious style Cummins engine. I have no idea what it came out of. Possibly some frack equipment down south over yonder. There you go. The sun was in the way. Couldn't get a good image of that. Nice rusty the Hollister turbo. Yes, sir.
You people really thought I was gonna make my very first YouTube video and not try to advertise something? You must be crazy, boy. Well, needless to say, I am a mobile mechanic that is located within and around the Denver metropolitan area, and you can reach me directly at tripplemservices@gmail.com, and that is with the 3 in front of the T, tripplemservices@gmail.com. You could pretty much get at me about any technical questions. I promise you, if it's a component that compresses fuel and air to make power, I promise you I can work on it. It doesn't matter if it's a standalone generator, some kind of a pump station, automobile, semi-truck, I got what you need. So let me know what's going on, and feel free to just shoot me a, message on that sucker for, parts. I sell a lot of parts as well. So just message me, let me know what you need, and if you're within the Denver metro area, I'll meet you personally. If you're anywhere else, I'll just, pay for shipping and handling, whatever. Thank you very much for making it to this portion of the video. Stay tuned for the next one. It will be out in approximately 2 weeks, and there will be a video out 2 weeks after that. So thank you much. This is Triple M Services coming at you live from Jamama's house. Goodbye.